So the question is why we suffer thoughts. Why human beings are suffering because of their own thoughts. Let's explore this question today. There are two types of thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. One is, of course, the positive thinking and negative thinking, right? Broadly. The problem is not positive thinking. Positive thoughts leads to positive thinking leads to positive imagination. That's not a problem. In fact, that's a lottery to humankind. Whether we are in cashing that lottery or not, that's a secondary question. We'll not go there today. But the key question is, whenever we think negative thoughts leads to negative thinking, leads to negative imagination, yes, we do suffer. So why we suffer? Because it's just thinking. There are so many thoughts we have every day, but why we suffer? Only because of thoughts. We're suffering because of the reality, something in happening, actually the truth, understandable. But just in thoughts, we just think about it negatively and we suffer. Why? Let's understand this today. Let's explore. You might have heard this several times from neuroscientists that humans was a caveman once upon a time and now a self-declared CEO of this planet Earth, has this basic inability to differentiate between reality and truth. A real danger, which is actually there in front of you, and the danger which you are imagining in your mind. So whenever you imagine something dangerous in your mind, threat in your mind, your brain is treating that threat as if it is real. Let's understand with the help of small example. Imagine you have a presentation tomorrow in front of your boss or in front of investors, or if you have an interview tomorrow. Now, if you start thinking like this, that my boss is going to hate my presentation, I'm going to fail, and I'm going to just go blank in my presentation, that's a threat because that might affect the image which you have created. So threat to your image, psychological threat. Now your brain cannot differentiate between the real threat and imaginary threat. Threat is threat. So brain is reacting. Or you are imagining like this, that in front of my investors, I'm not going to able to pitch correctly, and the investors are not going to get impressed and they are not going to invest, and then I will lose the whole plan, and that's a threat to your career. It can, in imagination, it can perpetuate like a tree, that this thought. Or I'm not able to going to crack this interview and my career is on stake. That's a threat again. And your brain cannot differentiate between real threats. So even though all these activities, this is tomorrow, but we are failing today only, and your brain is treating that failure as truth and reacting inside the body, treating it like a truth. What do you mean by treating it like truth? So this brain, first of all, we need to understand it's not one organ. It is in skull, there are several parts. Every part has a different age and different function. So there's one part in the brain which is 300 million years old, which is the threat detecting system. If it is 300 million years old, that doesn't, it means that it's not there only in humans. It's there in all the animals, even in reptiles, right? There are certain part in the brain which is there only in humans, like prefrontal cortex is only in humans, mainly. But there are certain parts which are there in many animals, almost all the animals. So this 300 million years old threat detecting system, the scientific name given to it, it's called amygdala, but knowing the name is not going to solve the problem. So keep the scientific name aside, but just for the sake of information, it's called amygdala. The beauty of this threat detecting system is it's get activated, it reacts within 10 milliseconds. That's the problem. 10 milliseconds is too less to decide whether it is a real or it is imaginary. I repeat, 10 milliseconds is too less to decide whether it's real or it is imaginary. That's the reason, even when we imagine a threat, it's taken as real. 300 million years ago, this particular system has a direct connection with your sensory cortex. Sensory cortex are nothing but you have 5 senses. We have 6, but we have 5 major senses. All the animals. We see, we smell, we taste, we hear, we touch. So as soon as these senses are detecting threat, we see something dangerous, we hear something, we taste something, something is attacking, touch. The sensory cortex has a direct connection with amygdala, correct? And amygdala is activated. Hey, there's a threat. Imagine someone is throwing something on you, you will get like this, 10 milliseconds. There is one more sense now in humans, that is your thought. All these 5 senses are connecting the external world with amygdala, and your thought is from the internal world. Your memory. What is thought? Thought is a trace of your memory. No memory, no thought. Correct? So it's an internal world. But amygdala has no time whether this sense input is coming from the external world or from the internal world, because the role of amygdala is not thinking. The amygdala is designed for survival. Amygdala is trading speed over accuracy. So I'm ready to consider that rope as a snake and jump and save my life, rather than I mistake that snake as a rope and just get casual and put my life on stake. That is compromising survival. So amygdala speed. So because of this amazing speed of this organ, this threat detecting system, it cannot differentiate between reality and imagination. Is this explanation going to solve my problem, that why I'm suffering because of my threats? Of course not. Let's move forward. When this system gets activated, when amygdala, this alarm, it's like a radar, always scanning for threat, always scanning for threat. It's get activated. It activates your stress management system inside your body, because if there is a threat, and if you're not managing it, if you're not preparing your body, it's my responsibility, the part of the his body's responsibility to prepare the body so I can fight with that threat or I can escape. But if I expose myself, become vulnerable, is like an animal walking in front of predator, just like this predator will kill. Oh. So it prepares the body. Now, understanding this preparation will help us to understand and explore the major problem, that why we are suffering our threats, why we are suffering our own thoughts. Now, how we prepare, how this stress management system, which is also called sympathetic nervous system, right? There's nothing in the name, it's just called sympathetic nervous system or stress management system. For it releases one chemical called cortisol. You might have heard this chemical name, cortisol. It's a steroid, by the way. Natural, of course. It's a natural steroid. But you must have heard one thing about the steroid, that steroid in less quantity is good. Remember this line, steroid in less quantity is good, but steroid in more quantity is bad. Right? We might have heard this. If not, that's a scientific truth. Now, this system is, of course, in those days or even nowadays, every animal might be activating once upon a while whenever they are exposing or whenever they get exposed to the threat. Not like humans, where every second moment we have a negative thoughts and we're activating the system. Not like this. So the system is designed that whenever you have a threat, if you have a threat, then I'm activating the system, I'm preparing. How? By releasing cortisol. Now, cortisol has various impact. First impact of this particular chemical is on the blood vessel. It constructs the blood vessels, increase the blood flow, increase the heart rate, the pumping of the blood, increase the blood flow. So we have more blood in the muscle because we need energy. The muscles has to be used, need energy. Why? Because there's a threat. To fight that threat. At the same time, it will also play with your breathing. It will make the breathing shallow. So we breathe more, even with the mouth. especially time when you are in stress. Even with the mouth, I think the organ which is designed for breathing is not mouth. So, but breathe from the mouth, so we get more oxygen, only because we have a threat and we need more oxygen. It stops your digestion also. Why? Because digestion takes too much of energy. It also suppresses your immune system, because immune system also takes too much of energy, and it's conserving energy to manage threat. And cortisol is also anti-inflammatory in a small quantity. Why? Because when the amygdala is detecting threat, the system, the stress management system, is so powerful, so smart, it's assuming that, hey, there is a predator, there is a high probability of a fight, and there will be a wound, there will be pain. So let me release anti-inflammatory before only, in case if there is a pain, so anti-inflammatory will work there. Such a beautiful system. Wow, system. Okay. Designed for what? Designed for a real threat, which comes once in a while. When was the last time you actually exposed to real physical threat? The threat which are senses, which was sensed by your five senses, not your six senses, which is your thought. Your five senses, very rare. Right? Now, on one hand, we are saying the system is very powerful. And on the other hand, we are saying that we are activating this system without that threat, because if the presentation is tomorrow, you cannot fail today. You can fail tomorrow. You cannot fail today. So whether you're failing or not failing, your system is activated. It's just like you have a very advanced fire alarm system at your home. As soon as it gets activated, there are sprinkles all over the home. It's sprinkled water, and there's no chance of fire. Impossible. Very smart. And you're going with the fire every few moments below the alarm and checking whether the alarm is working or not working. And every few moments, they sprinkle at your home. In next few days, your home is going to be in a not a good shape. It will damage. The same water, the same alarm system will damage. We are exactly treating amygdala just like that. Every time when we are thinking negative, we are sensitizing our amygdala, and amygdala is flushing cortisol, and that leads to a high level of cortisol inside our body, which leads to chronic stress. And chronic stress is responsible for several chronic diseases. Because of the very function of this chemical, we are suffering from chronic diseases, because how it is impacting the blood vessels, it constructs the blood vessels. People are suffering from hypertension. If you're constructing the blood vessel, the tension will increase. Hypertension also increases chances of strokes, heart diseases. Because it's releasing glucose inside the blood, it increases the chances of type 2 diabetes. Cortisol also converts your muscle into energy, because it needs energy. So if a high level of cortisol will burn your muscle for energy, for fuel. That's the reason people who are going through a lot of chronic stress, they lose weight. Cortisol will also hamper your digestion, and it's been scientifically proven, all this, that when you have a high level of cortisol, it increases the deposition of fat in your belly. It's called stress belly also. And one of the ways of identifying whether someone is going through a chronic stress or not, say the belly fat. And because it's hampering the digestion, it's also bloating and other stomach issues and digestion issues are there. High level of cortisol is also known for killing, very specifically using this word, killing the cells in your hippocampus, which is the part which is responsible for memory. There's a part in the brain which is responsible for memory. And that's the reason when it's killing the cells in that memory part, people who are going through a chronic stress, they struggle to remember things. All this is happening because we are activating this alarm without knowing. So what is the solution, ladies and gentlemen? Even donkeys are not dying because of heart attack. Humans are dying. It means we are really suffering. So what is the solution? Solution is this. I divide the solution in 4 parts. The first step is awareness. The reason of human misery is because we are living a very ignored life. The first step is awareness that, hey, I have a negative thought. If someone thinking negatively and not even aware about this negative thinking, it means that person is being hijacked by thinking, hijacked by amygdala, and the whole system is so stressed up from inside. So the same system which was designed for survival has become the destroyer, killer. Aware. There is a negative thought. Okay, now this negative thought is going to release chemicals inside my body. This sensation inside my body, this burning sensation, this butterflies in the stomach, this chest, there's a burn in the chest. Whatever sensations are there inside your body, this is happening mainly because of this flush of cortisol chemical inside my body. Aware. Moment you are aware, it decreases its impact. First, aware. First step. The second step is a reset. What is a natural reset? What is a natural way of telling your brain that, hey, I'm okay? Imagine you are in the jungle and if there is a tiger in front of you, you have noticed a tiger, but tiger has not noticed you. You know, if the tiger notices you, then you are gone. But tiger, without noticing you, has moves and what you will do. As long as a tiger is there in front of you, you are completely quiet. Even you're holding your breath. But as soon as a tiger moves, sighing is a natural reset, is a natural way of telling the brain, amygdala, hey, I'm safe now. Second, reset. First, aware, A. Second, reset, R. Third, you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that in the evolution, just 300,000 years ago, we started building one part in the brain called prefrontal cortex, which has this role to tell amygdala, hey, amygdala, listen, this threat is not real. It is imaginary. So calm down. There is a part in the brain. It's a responsibility of that part. It's called prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex, this part. Now, how do I activate this part? Because this part needs time. Amygdala reacts in just 10 milliseconds. This part takes at least 300 to 500 milliseconds. It means 0.5 second. So how do I activate? Because I have to give time to this particular part, not to entire brain, this particular part to analyze the threat, right? Time. So what I do, I take 7 breath. What I do, I take 7. You can take 5, you can take 3. Don't take less than 3. Don't take more than 7, because this deep breathing has to be like 5 by 6 or 5 by 5. It means 5 seconds inside, 6 seconds outside. 5 seconds inside. Many times people think like this, Praveen, such a big problem of negative thinking and anxiety and depression. Breathing cannot be the solution. Breathing is so simple. No, breathing is the solution, right? The problem is not break. The problem is we don't understand the problem. So, what is breathing? When you breathe like this for 5 to 7 times, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is exactly opposite system of your stress sympathetic nervous system. So we have a rest and digest. So you're activating parasympathetic nervous system, and it's reinforcing the same message that, hey, everything is safe. Rest, digest, chill, relax. Same message, right? So first, aware. Second, reset. Third, when you breathe like this, you're actually healing your body from inside, because you can heal your body only when you're resting and digesting. Right? So breathe. Third, breathe. Fourth, investigate. This is the most important part. And now we can investigate because you have given time to your prefrontal cortex. Hey, I'm engaging you now because brain also work like muscles. Use it or lose it. If you're not using it, you're losing it. So I said, hey, I know you takes time. So I've given time by taking those 6 to 7 breaths. Not only I have activated my parasympathetic nervous system, I not only started healing my body, but also given space between that reaction. And now you have time, think, investigate why you thought like that. What is the reason? Why I thought like this, that tomorrow I'm going to fail in that presentation? Did I think like this only because I have a habit of thinking negative? Is this the habit? Is because of the habit? Or you said, no, 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 it's not because of the habit. I don't think so much negative. I'm not a negative person. But in this particular case, I'm thinking negative. So is this because I believe that I am not a good presenter? Okay, from where this belief is coming? Is this belief coming from last few years, few months, or is this belief coming from my childhood? Okay, if it is coming from my childhood, what happened during my childhood? Okay, during my childhood, I've been asked to present several times, but during the childhood, I was never prepared. And every time they were asking me to come and present, I was never prepared. I developed the habit of anxiety, and that conditioning is so strong that has become my belief, and it's firing the same wiring now. Without even you knowing it, you're feeling a little anxious, you're a little stressed up because your old conditioning is acting now. Is this the reason? Investigate. Moment you investigate and you find the reason, you said, okay, this is the reason. So next time when you are in the same situation, and if you have a negative thought, you know, hey, wait, this negative thought has come because of this conditioning. And this particular conditioning, which was okay as a child, maybe a nice coping strategy as a child, but is not okay now. I have to work on my presentation. So let me ask some questions. Is my presentation ready? Have I done proper rehearsal? Can I do some little mock in front of my friends, in front of my family members? What extra, what best I can do now? How I can focus on my presentation now so I can increase the chances of success tomorrow? That's the use of your logical brain. This makes us human. If you're reacting to amygdala, every animal has amygdala. So we are behaving like animals, respectfully. So to be very precise answer to this question, that why humans suffer because of thoughts, because humans are not learning how to process thoughts in their mind. Moment they start learning how to process thoughts in their mind, they will not suffer.